Not a YouTuber, just like making videos. And this video here is going to be a response to a stylistic video on who is Harriet Tubman. Now I understand that Styles was speaking sort of hypothetically, questioning Harriet Tubman's existence, but he was grasping for straws. He was reaching. I'm like, so I wouldn't have a hard time debunking him. I'm like, I can understand he's trying to create some sort of theory, but there's nothing there. Now, the thing is, and it's the reason why I don't like a lot of these dudes that want to kick hood logic, because they're misleading black people. They talk all that, motherfucker this, motherfucker that, motherfucker, and motherfucker my dick, mother. I think it's just exhausting. Listen to these guys speak and without doing minimum research. Now, I understand a dude like, let's say, conspiracy dude, that if he ever made some sort of video doubting the existence of Harriet Tubman, at least with him, he's going to, try to razzle and dazzle you. But it's almost like Stylistics' video was extremely flim. It virtually had no weight. A lot of things he can say that he says can easily be debunked, or people can easily come up with a conclusion on exactly how that happened, or whatever. But these guys, they want to make videos because they want to, because any type of black icon we have that white people recognize, they want to question their existence or their integrity, or was they really spies and agents or ninjas working for white supremacy? See, the thing is with our black leaders and our historical figures, white people may acknowledge them, but they're going to give you the Nickelodeon type version. Now, and this doesn't mean this doesn't take away from what these people have done, but you get my drift. You have to read up on it to get the full story. And as far as Harriet Tubman, you can actually go on YouTube and look at at little documentaries about Harriet Tubman. I'm like, she's not so obscure to the point where we can't dig up any information. I'm like, people know when she was born. They know what plantation she was born on, what she did, who she married. I'm like, that's the thing. Now, here in my video presentation, I'm actually going to be using Frederick Douglass autobiography. And the whole concept of is, about Harriet Tubman being on a $20 bill has a whole nother discussion. I understand that money is illusion, that the concept of money is just dead, it's a hoax. But what you can buy with money is real. You know what I mean? Even though I used my fake money to buy this book, and it's something I can hold and and learn something from. One thing about Styles said something about photography. He says, like, how can this woman take pictures? Well, it's obvious that she took pictures when she was amongst her friends, or took those pictures, some of those pictures after slavery was supposedly abolished, and that she was just living out her life as a married woman. So the reason why I'm gonna bring Frederick Douglass in the picture, talk about, because one, I don't have a book on Harriet Tubman, and Frederick Douglass mentions his own personal relationship with Harriet Tubman. No, they weren't lovers, but he talks about how he admired her. He said, in this book, he paid for Harriet Tubman's wedding dress. All these intricate details that that people may not talk about. So people know a lot about her. About the Underground Railroad. And Styles says something about photos. Now you have to figure that Frederick Douglass they probably, I'm like, photos existed, or the ability to capture light existed back in those days. There's plenty of photos of Frederick Douglass. There's photos all in this book of during slavery, and just like Harriet Tubman was wanted, you don't think that there wasn't people that wanted Frederick Douglass dead? I'm like, this dude was trying to end the institution of slavery. This dude wasn't just talking about, freeing. He was talking about black economics. He was trying to go forward to the future. I'm like, he was more radical. And on top of that, there was like rumors that he was fucking white women. Yeah, eventually he did marry a white woman after his wife died. Great men have great flaws. Frederick Douglass was mixed. But you're talking about Frederick Douglass, a man who got on Napoleon, that was outspoken against slavery and stuff that could easily get a black man hung back in those days. He was talking about black economics, rumors of him screwing. White women loved him. They thought he was handsome. And so, yeah, and Frederick Douglass was somebody they could easily find. They could have easily found where he lived at. He lived in a nice house, knew where he worked at, and his speaking engagements. Like, he'll go around, he was like a public figure. So if they wanted to light Frederick Douglass up, it would be easier for them to get him than Harriet Tubman. But Frederick Douglass just, he hung around, good people, and things of that nature. And then we talk about, well, how can Harriet Tubman do all that? Here's a photo of her. How can she have, Styles answered his own question by basically saying that she got help. Yes, she did. And here are some of the people that helped her. Some of these, and here's another black female right there. I forgot her name. Some of these people was very powerful and had money and influence. So yeah, I'm like, she definitely had a team. Ultimately she got her hands dirty by herself. She had to get out there and crawl through the mud. But Harriet Tubman, you got to figure she escaped slavery herself. So she being successful, it was it was a whole lot easier for her to go back in and just went the route that she took. See, the thing is, when it comes to escaping slavery, it's about how far can you get before they find out that you're gone. And a lot of slaves that escaped or tried to escape didn't know what to do, didn't know where to go, or whatever. Like, we hear about the Underground Railroad, but back then, it wasn't that popular. And even if people heard about it, they wouldn't know what to do. It wasn't like, technology, communication was very primitive back then. It took a while for word to get around, and so forth. And it wasn't like Harriet Tubman was running back and forth. You know what I'm saying? A lot of times it would be, she would sometimes even make like 2 trips per year. So it's not like she'll go in, she'll go in and then she'll rest for a little bit, and then she'll go back in. She did this over the process of a year, of a decade, of decades. So yeah, and and she was only wanted in slave territory, and she moved out at night. So when she was making a name for herself, they probably didn't have a clear idea on what she looked like. Now, Harriet Tubman don't have, it wasn't like she stood out like, she has green eyes and she's real high yellow. So it's in the way she clothed herself, it's very easy for her to get through as just a, just regular looking black woman, and then with people helping her, she can lead a slave to a white man or a white person. This white person would pretend that this fugitive slave is their slave and help them on the way. It wasn't like she went and grabbed and held their hand and literally walked with holding hands the whole time, and then immediately went back down south. Of course she rested. She had, since she had her family, she had a husband. People know details of her life. And one thing Styles brought up, he said that maybe she could have been an agent, taking slaves from the South and then put them under the control of the government. The thing is with these hood logic dudes, they always come up with this, we're still in slavery and things of that nature. The thing is, unless you read about how cruel slavery was, you'll never know. You know, I'm like, these dudes now can just live under women and smoke weed and say, hey, we're still slaves. But Frederick Douglass points out in this book, the main reason why slaves got beat, or the, what's the word I'm looking for? You know what I'm saying? The main occurrence is for sleeping too late. You can get beat for sleeping too late as a slave. You know, Frederick Douglass, and then they had what you call nigger breakers. If a black slave did not want to be cooperative, they'll take him to a specialist, a nigger breaker. You know, a dude that's going to really try to break you down to the point where you're nothing more than an animal, an empty vessel. That's how cool it was. Now, could you imagine working your job, going to job late, and you know what I'm saying, your boss beating you? Imagine, you can sue them. If I went to my job late and the president of the company hit me with a whip for being late, I'll sue his fucking ass and live for hundreds of thousands of dollars, maybe $1 million. But that's the thing. But now it's just that people don't want to do the research. They just want to just sit around and kick their little pseudo knowledge. So that's why I like to be right and exact. I don't want somebody coming and debunking me and things of that nature. So I try to use information, use books and so forth. And people, yeah, they consider my videos boring because I don't cook that whole, Ebonics, you motherfucker, my dick, y'all motherfuckers are stupid, peep game motherfuckers. I don't care about that. To me, that's exhausting. Now, another thing Styles said, when he said that maybe Harriet Tubman can be an agent. The thing is with that, like she could have grabbed slaves from the South and bring them up north. First of all, the North had slaves. I keep telling you that there were slave-holding states and non-slave-holding states. There were states up north that had slaves. Look into the Kansas-Nebraska Act. After the Mexican War, America acquired some new territories, and they was actually going to use slaves to build those territories up. And they were marching slaves to Kansas and Nebraska and bringing slaves over to California. It was newly acquired territory. And the North could have easily just got slaves from Richmond, Virginia, the slave port. Or the slave port they had in South Carolina or North Carolina, or one of them. They didn't need Harriet Tubman to go and grab slaves and bring them up north. They could have easily just went to the ports where slaves were coming fresh off the boat from Africa and just get slaves that way. I'm like, his video. I'm like, it was just too far fetched. Now. He also said that how could Harriet Tubman be doing this during the Civil War and all this other stuff? First of all, Harriet Tubman made a name for herself before the Civil War. She was doing that. Now, during the Civil War, she worked with the Union Army. She helped them strategize. So, therefore, she had the Army backing her up as she was especially doing things during the Civil War. She had the Union Army backing her up. It was probably easier for her if she had people with guns looking out for her, and things of that nature. But yeah, she was grabbing hold of slaves and running them towards freedom, before the Civil War. And and when the Civil War broke out, she was telling Union soldiers the lay of the land so they could have strategic attacks. But that's all I want to say for this. Thanks for watching, and Sally forth.